Hi guys, welcome back. This is part 4 of our formatting series on how to format ebooks. I'm Courtney and I'm with Clean Team Publishing and Crimson Tree Publishing. So this time we're going to talk about a couple of different things. We're going to talk about our dividers and how to make those more attractive. We're also going to talk about linking our table of contents to the bookmarks that we made in the previous video. And I'm also going to talk about how to save your document for different file types such as Smashwords, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. All of those have different qualifications that you need to be aware of in order for them to accept your document. First, I'd like to talk about the dividers and a little trick that I learned not too long ago. I know that, most people use the asterisks, but I really like to spice it up a little bit in my documents, and I wanted to use a little picture that represented my divider instead of the asterisks. So let me show you a little trick that I learned. So in this case, on this document, every divider has 3 asterisks. And as long as the dividers are all the same, and it's not 3 asterisks here, 4 asterisks here, 2 asterisks there, this will work just great. And so I'm going to take those out real quick. And remember there was 3. And I'm going to put in this little leaf design that I've used in prior ebooks. And basically what I'm going to do is you don't do this, but you highlight it this way. That is very important or this will not work. And I'm going to copy it by using either Command or Control C, depending on if you have a Mac or a PC. And then I'm going to go over here to my Find and Replace. And if this isn't located right now on your desktop, just push Control or Command F and it will pop up. And I'm going to place my 3 asterisks in there. And obviously there's 22 different instances of this in the document. And one of the neat tricks that I learned was that I can replace with something on my clipboard, which is such a neat feature because you can't always replace everything in this document. It will not let you, but if you copy it to your clipboard, you can bypass words, no-nos. So right here, you're going to put in your little rooftop by pushing Shift 6, and you're going to push C. Now watch what happens when I hit Replace All. Every single one of those asterisks now has the pretty little leaf picture in the middle of it. Isn't that lovely? I think it's so much better than having just the asterisks there. Totally my choice. But just know that that is an option and you can do that. And it automatically, when you highlight it this way, when I highlight it this way and not this way or with the image around it, with the box around the image, then it allows me to also keep the formatting style that I chose up here, which is a really nice feature. All right, so on to the table of contents. So before, remember, we linked all of these as bookmarks by clicking on these like this, going to bookmark, and adding in our bookmarks here. I've done up to 7 on mine. This isn't the final copy of the draft, so I'm not going to go into all 68 of the chapters. All right, so I'm going to do another page break up here. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to start my table of contents. Now, you can use an image for this, and I usually do. I just haven't created one yet. I am going to center that. And then I'm going to type in up to chapter 7. 2, 3, and I can't type because people are watching me. 4, 5, 6, 7. Now remember, I want you to know this, that you need to put a couple of spaces after this or else it'll mess up the bottom one when we do what we're about to do with the formatting. And so once we have this and we have all of our bookmarks linked, we're going to want to use hyperlinks to make sure that these link properly to where you want them to go in the document. Now one thing I want to make sure that you understand first is if you go to bookmark, you will see all of these down here. Now, you see this little thing called hidden bookmarks. This is really important. And honestly, I would also click location. Now, when you click location and you have hidden bookmarks clicked, you may see something on top of this that's like HC and then a whole bunch of numbers. You need to delete that. If you do not delete that, Smashwords will not take your documents. So you want to make, and the reason why I like location too is because I can go down here and I can make sure I have not missed any bookmarks and none of my bookmarks are misspelled. If you do this, it'll make this process a whole lot quicker, and I'll show you why in a second. So the first one I'm going to do is chapter 1. I'm going to highlight it, and then on my toolbar that I made in a previous video, I'm going to click Insert Hyperlink. From here, it says, what do I want it to link to? Well, in this case, we are actually anchoring it into the document. And because I know that all of my bookmarks are spelled correctly and they are all based on a numeric system, I can type 1 in here and push OK. And I push enter to get that by itself. Now, it now has turned blue, and if I click it, it will go, in fact, to number 1. Now, if you don't do this correctly, it won't go anywhere. So I want to show you also, if you say, oh, did I do that one right? You can go in here to locate and just make sure. Sometimes this won't be here. Just click this and drop down, and you can pick exactly the one that you want. But if you have named them correctly, you can just go in here really quickly and type in 1. Just make sure that you're doing that right. And when you get to numbers like 27 or 28 or something like that, that you have in fact typed it correctly. And push OK. So go ahead and do that for all of them. Remember, you highlight, click Hyperlink, tab it twice, and then go to 2. And then 3. See how quickly this can go? Now, I can also show you a really cool thing that I have done. I have actually made a separate document that has chapters 1 through, I think, 99. And I have linked them with the exact same links that I use for all of my books. So even if I've done this in a different book and I have labeled it number 1, I can use it for this one because this one will have the same bookmarks, if that makes sense. So go through all of these and go ahead and link all of them. And then once you're done with that, you want to add, your title page and your table of not your table of contents, your title page, your copyright page, and any other, maybe a review page or something of that sort. You'll also want to add your About Me page at the end, your acknowledgments, and things of that nature. But once you've gotten everything in there, we're going to save this as this file. Now, the cool thing about Amazon is if you've used regular page breaks, and that is all that Amazon really requires of you, is that it's a regular page break and you have done it in docx file. So, and I'll show you what that is. When Word came out with their newest platform, it changed from a .doc file to the .docx file. Now, Smashwords and Barnes & Noble require you, or at least Smashwords, they require you to do the doc file. Now, the other platforms will want you to do the docx. So for Amazon, make sure you have your page breaks and that you save it, file, save as, a docx file, which is actually the one that you're going to get anyway, because that's their default. And so I like to save mine on the document or the desktop, and I'm going to name mine the title of your book, and then I put Amazon, and then save it. Okay, so now that you have the Amazon file, you're going to want to make the Smashwords. I make the Barnes & Noble first, and then the Smashwords document. To make the Barnes & Noble first, there is only one thing that you have to do, but you have to kind of do it in a back way to be able to do it quickly. For some reason, Barnes & Noble wants you to have, instead of page breaks, they want you to have section breaks. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm just going to return to show you this. If you go to Insert and you go to Break, if you scroll down here, you'll see Next Page Break, Next, or Section Break, Next Page. This is the one that you want to use, and I'm just going to put it right in there. And you'll notice that it does page break. For some reason, Amazon doesn't do this, Barnes & Noble does, so whatever. But if I wanted to go into my Find and Replace, I cannot hit my manual page break, which was what I did earlier, and then this one, it will not work. They will not let you replace it. But if you use that copy feature I told you about earlier, it will. So we're going to highlight this and we're going to copy it by using Command or Control C. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to push my C, that means take the clipboard contents. And up here I'm going to type the Shift 6 and M. M stands for manual page break, and you'll see that it said, oh, that's what that is. So I'm going to take this one out real quick as to not confuse anything. I just used it to get it on the clipboard. And then I'm going to click Replace All. Now, all of the page breaks instead have turned into section breaks. And that, my friends, is the only thing that Barnes & Noble needs you to do. So again, you're going to go up here and you're going to go to File, Save As. The same thing, but at the end of it, I would type B&N. And then push Save. Now for Smashwords, you have to do two things. The first thing that you have to do is on your copyright page, which I have not made yet, but we'll look at. So say this was my copyright. You need to have their disclosure. So I have this one, sitting over here in my stickies, but you don't need to see it. If you go to the Smashwords document, you'll be able to see exactly what that is. It's the Smashwords terms. So it says something like Smashwords edition, and then it'll have like a disclosure for it. But you can get that right on Smashwords, just Google it. Make sure that is right underneath in your copyright page. Then from there, and make sure this is not a page break but a section break. They cannot take page breaks here. It's only section breaks. So I'll put that there. And then the only other thing that you have to do with Smashwords is that when you save it, as save as, don't push save. When you save it, you have to go down here and you have to click the DOC file. It will not accept a DOCX file. And remember to push Smash here instead of Barnes & Noble and click save. Kobo, I believe, works just fine with either Amazon or Barnes & Noble, so you can use that just fine. I'm not exactly sure about iBooks. I've always used Smashwords to go to them. But stay tuned because I'm going to show you some really neat tricks next time to use with a program called Sigil, and I'm also going to teach you how to take your doc file and put that inside of an EPUB file and convert it to an EPUB file.